The summer pool party has officially begun, and this year we're doing something special.
That's right. Instead of making you wait so many weeks, we're doing every week in the pool.
Not only that, we're doing Patreon pools, and then the next week we're doing a producer pool, and then we're doing a Patreon pool, and then we're doing a producer pool.
That's right. Back to back to back to back weeks of playing your games. These are your games, the games that you want us to play. You can find out more information or find out how you can be a part by visiting us at patreon.com/NGP podcast. Welcome to New Game Plus. This is a retro gaming podcast where three guys spend 7 days playing one old game and then we talk about it. My name's Dustin.
My name is Kenny.
Nolan.
And this is episode 482, and it is a Patreon poll!
I hurt my ears.
Before we splash, I've got a question of the week. What's the most memorable mechanic from a video game?
I feel like this is one of the easier questions you've ever asked us.
Thank you.
The answer is very obvious to me, and it is portals shot from the portal gun from the game Portal, where you open up a portal and then step out of it from another portal.
So
somewhere
good.
else.
That's a good submission, Kenny.
Yeah.
Say Portal again?
Portal. Nothing else comes close as a video game mechanic.
That line is not true.
It's pretty good, Dustin. It's one of the best.
It's
It's
good.
easy. It's easy S tier. I'm sure there are other good things, and y'all will drop some. But it was hard. Like, I tried to even think about other things, and I just was like, no, nothing is that good.
But that's like me answering Final Fantasy VII for everything, not Kenny answering Portal. But Portal can be the answer for any positive question.
It is very low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
I will answer it, but seems like the most obvious one, and enough so that I couldn't get away from it, even though I did want to think about some other alternative answers. I was like, no, I'll let it be, because that's how it is.
Mine is a better answer, but only because technically more people know about this than Portal. The Wii bowling motion. The Wiimote.
Wow.
But specifically the Wii Sports or the Wii Sports Resort games. Because you played it with your grandparents, and they could play a video game with you, and they understood how that worked, and it was unique and weird, and they sold a billion gazillion units.
Kenny, are we giving it to him as a mechanic?
Give it to me.
I'm absolutely giving it to him as a mechanic, and possibly as a valid thing to say with the statement that he said. I don't think it's as good, but in its own scope and like frame of reference, it's a big deal too. So I think it's a good answer.
Thanks, Kenny.
I wanted to go more personal. I mean, because if I was doing that with like Nolan, I would say like Guitar Hero guitar or something, but that's not mechanic in my mind. So like so one of the things that I thought about, this is not my answer, but Nolan might agree. I loved the VATS in Fallout. I thought that was a really fun way to do combat. It's kind of like a turn-based kind of situation in that it slows things down. You get to decide.
That's the best one your grandmother does not know about.
Your grandmother does not know about VATS from Fallout for sure. I also thought about, the one that is my answer is, and I've talked about this game some, but I don't do it as often as some of these others. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
Oh, you love
the
that
entire game. I do. The entire game is built around a unique mechanic where you are using your controller, and one half of the controller is one of the brothers, and the other half of the controller is the other brother. And so you're operating them in tandem. Same mother.
Same mom.
You're operating them in tandem, working together, but doing different things. It feels odd, but you get used to it. And then later in the game, you're temporarily stripped one brother away from you, and you feel it. It hurts because you're no longer using that. It's a mechanic brought into the story, interwoven with the gameplay. It feels really good. It's a really unique mechanic.
Good answer. But let's now rank the answers. Mine.
Well, I mean,
Kenny's. Dustin's.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go home.
You are home.
Okay, bye.
Those are our memorable mechanics from a video game, but I am... I was going to make a skateboarding pun, but it might not land right. Like in our retro game of the week, Tony Hawk's Underground.
Overview.
Tony Hawk is not below the ground. His game, Underground, is a 2003 skateboarding video game. This is the 5th of the Tony Hawk series. And Pro Skater 4 preceded this. That's how numbers work. 4 comes before Underground. This game came out on a bunch of stuff, including the Game Boy Advance, oddly enough, though that is a slightly different version. Also dropped on GameCube, Xbox, PlayStation 2, Windows. You can even play it on mobile, which is crazy. Published by Activision, developed by Neversoft, and is mostly what you would expect from a Tony Hawk game, with a little bit of twist in that we get some story here, whereas normally you just get to skate around and listen to some jams. Here you get to skate around and listen to some jams and also go on some quests.
If you're able to do this, I will be so proud of you. Neversoft was the developer of this game, but Neversoft also developed 2 other games that we played on the podcast that are not Tony Hawk related.
Yeah, the one is that one with the little creatures.
No.
Yeah.
Not even close.
First of all, you can't just say something that general, because maybe, I mean, there could be creatures in the game, but it's not.
I can.
Honestly, without Googling, ignore how my face just lit up a little bit.
Right. Because your face is very lit right now.
Hold on.
Can I just tell you rather than you look it up?
I do use dark mode Wikipedia. So the game that you're referring to is Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock.
That is one of them, and I'm glad you're able to pull that from just the back of your
Thanks.
mind.
As well as Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
No, that's Activision.
Yeah, that's Activision. Neversoft did
did the port.
some later games, but not even the one that we played. Stop Wikipedia.
The
Just
other
say no.
one is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Y'all are killing me.
I mean, we know stuff.
No, you don't. And even with Wikipedia, you're getting it
It's
wrong.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, okay?
No, stop. I said not Tony Hawk involved, and we have not played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Remember when I said it was a game with the creatures? I'm going to go back and stand by that answer.
Okay. And what is that game?
Creatures
I don't
from
remember
the
what it's called.
Okay. Kenny's correct. Spider-Man.
I saw that on the list, and I was like, there's no way.
That's clearly what I was thinking
That's
of.
the Spider-Man game we played, I think, for the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, that's the one that I
is what it was.
rented a lot.
The one where he crawled on the ceiling?
Okay. Like a creature, Kenny. I should have never asked the question. It's my fault for trying to have a conversation with y'all that is an intelligent one.
Thank you for acknowledging that, I guess.
The more important thing of what I want to get across right now is that this is our first Patreon pool of the summer pool party. We are getting wet this summer. We are so thrilled to be celebrating the summer pool party with you. For those of you that are new around here, you don't know what the summer pool party is. This is a dangerous thing to do, but I'm passing it over to Kenny, who loves picking up what I'm throwing down, because he's gonna explain what our summer pool party is.
What you threw down was a pool noodle. And we're jumping into a metaphorical swimming pool where instead of putting our fate in the hand of fate,
we gonna get wet.
The randomizer, we let those of you who support us and are part of our community through patreon.com to submit games so that
Patreon.com?
That'll get you there.
That'll get you there.
If you go to patreon.com, that's how you get to us eventually.
Well,
Now I've
make it
derailed.
easier. Google.com will get you to Patreon.com. So like, let's just make it easier.
At this point, I'm out of the water and I'm drying off on the side of the pool, and it's your fault.
You're about to grill us some wieners.
He's gonna grill some wieners. I'll pop a couple wieners and I'll get wet again in the pool, and then I'll think about maybe getting in the hot tub.
Our summer pool party is going to be a blast. You've already heard a little bit of it up front, but this is entire summer where we're not selecting from our Retro Master list, thousands and thousands of games. We're selecting from a much smaller pool of games. In fact, at the end of this episode, stick around, we're selecting our first producer pool game of the summer pool party.
But don't skip ahead because you'll be cursed.
This game, Tony Hawk's Underground, was submitted by 2 of our patrons that support us on patreon.com, found through google.com, Sin Doctor and Official WNBA. We now have a bonus episode exclusive for those on Patreon.
Episode is not an over-exaggeration. It's a full episode.
And it's an episode that you get to be a part of.
Yeah, it's called Expansion Pack, and semi-regularly, you get to be a part of the conversation, and we're going to debate, and we're going to scream at each other.
We're going to talk about video games. Yeah, we're going to scream mostly, though. That's kind of the point of it.
Yeah, it'll be like goats.
You roast us, we roast you. Find out more information at patreon.com/NGP podcast.
Gameplay.
We didn't. I was going to talk about this in the overview, but y'all rushed. This game was a huge game for me growing up. I skated, and the premise of this game clicked with me perfectly. So I was the intended audience and age when this game came out, and this is by far my most played Tony Hawk game. Without question, I've played it over and over and over again, like through a store, like a creative skater.
Did you communicate this when it was pulled
No.
at the end of our? Okay,
I held it on. I held on to it because I wanted it to be a bit of a surprise.
Nolan, you were a poser, right?
Absolutely not. No, I was pretty good.
You can do a Benihana?
No one can. Tony Hawk can.
What is it? A 540
No.
over a helicopter?
No. No, I street skated.
Can you do a kickflip?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm glad you brought up street skating because that's what Tony Hawk's Underground is all about. Whereas Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, 2, 3, and 4 focused more. There was street skating, of course, but focused more on like Nolan, skater boy. You're gonna have to help me out with some of the lingo, but focused more on verts and ramps and all of these things. It of course did.
They had lots of street skating in the early ones too.
They did, but this game in particular, why it's called Underground,
More so,
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not why it's called Underground, but it focused a lot more on street skating. And then what we've kind of already addressed is that it has. I mean, Kenny didn't even, because y'all rushed in the overview. Didn't
Y'all
even
did
tell
that.
us the story really.
That's what I was saying.
No, but I did tell you that there was a story.
Right, you said there was a story, which is enough because they can get the rest of it going through.
Well,
Google.
you create your own.
But
not really.
you don't create your own. My God.
No. You create your own character, though. Nolan, did you do a self-insert this week? Did you create yourself as a child?
No.
You were ridiculous.
Yeah,
instead?
I picked like the goofiest looking stuff because back in the day I tried to make him look cool, or whatever.
None of us
Right.
did this because the functionality is no longer available, as far as I'm aware. But during the time of its release, you could email a photograph of your face to faces@thugonline.com, and they would put into your game this digitized version, mesh version of your face to go
Of
on your
yourself.
character. I'm sure it looked terrible, like GoldenEye or something.
That is amazing.
Still, that's the sickest thing.
Do you
the
think-
dumbest thing, but
The
the
dumbest
sickest
thing.
thing at the same time?
Should we try
But
that?
also-
Do you think it for sure doesn't work anymore?
Please email. But also, was someone answering those emails, doing the digital work, and then sending it
free?
back to them? I don't
For
know.
free?
Yeah, for free.
That's crazy.
So
I didn't know that.
You can self-insert, you can create your own character, you could do a different character, whatever. But then you are thrust into this narrative, this story, where you are just some punk skater kid in New Jersey. Is that where
New
it begins?
Jersey.
Yeah, it starts in New Jersey. You go all over later, but that's where you begin.
You're a skilled skater, but you don't got money. And so you don't have any support from the local skate shop or anything like that. And so you have to slowly work your way up. But you and a friend, a really good friend, the guy's a good friend and he's not going to turn on you at all, work together and to do sick, gnarly moves all throughout the city. You get the attention of Chad Muska, a professional skater, who then he's in town for a demo and pulls you along. You then go to different cities, New York. You end up in Russia, I think, at some point.
Yeah,
You're
you go to
just
Moscow.
going around. You get to Moscow.
Yeah.
You go around getting sick footage, rising up in the ranks, kind of doing. I mean, this is certainly a fantastical version of it, but doing kind of what Tony Hawk and many other skaters did in their rise to stardom.
Well, and also I brought up the childhood skating hobby because that was like a lot of people's dream. Like this, it's blown out of proportion in this game. Like, I mean, the things that you do in this game are insane and ridiculous, but the idea of being like, oh, I'm gonna go to one of those skate events, because they would go around to skate parks. Like the Vans team would go to like big skate parks and then do it, just like a skate session. You could skate there. And the Tampa Am is a real competition, like a real life thing. And that's how people get discovered and stuff. So that was super appealing to the target audience for this, for sure.
Yeah. So 2 main game modes here. You've got high score, and then you've got your story mode. Story mode is your primary thing. And this is very different from the Tony Hawk games that preceded this one. My connection to Tony Hawk, by the way, is only Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
That's crazy.
So that's all the experience I had up until this point.
That's actually not
was
crazy.
only
That's not crazy.
2.
I don't know,
through
scatterings of them throughout, and then whatever we've played on the podcast. Probably shallower than yours, but wider.
But this took it a different angle and really did a story mode, whereas the others were just like putting you in a skating environment, and then you had multiple goals that you could accomplish through various sessions that would unlock the next area.
It was more just sandbox skating sim, where you got to sort of be the pros more than anything. And here, they so much wanted it to be a story that they didn't even have you play, for the most part, at least in story mode, as like a professional skater. Like, you are your own person, and you're not only going through the story, but developing your look and your name and your backstory and your very own moves, and if you want, your very own skate parks. And they gave you tons and tons and tons of room to do customization here. That's kind of the game's whole shtick, is like, be your own skater.
And it's an actual story too. Like it seems like, and I mean, we've said it a couple times, it is crazy, but like you would think that for a game like this, they would just kind of throw a story in there, but that Create a Skater mode is this game. It is why this game is unique from the rest of them, and they do a really good job, I think, of like taking you through the journey of your character. And they took the 2K approach, the sports game 2K, where you customize your guy and then take them through a journey of becoming a pro. Like you do that in 2K and in games like it, where you have like a career path. Super smart, and it works really well here because they could insert at any point, and they did, professional skaters that come across your path. And Tony Hawk's always been about that, like bringing his real life friends into these games. Like that was a huge thing for these guys because they're getting paid for that, right? And so you see all of them throughout the story. It's great.
Outside of the uniqueness of having your own story, there's a couple of other gameplay elements here that are a little different than just the normal like skate and rack up high scores and jam to some cool music while you do it. They add almost some, I'm not even going to say role-playing elements because that goes a little bit far, but they add some sort of like personal like stat growth as part of your character development outside of just like the story as well. So as you're going through this story and you get to sort of different tiers of accomplishment, you can upgrade your skater's abilities by doing specific sort of important milestones of tricks that then like up your stats so that your skater literally becomes a more effective skater, which sort of serves as like growth and kind of immersion, but also gives you the excuse to have a little bit of kind of implied passive tutorial, like you have to figure out how to do these things in order to then, you know, raise your skills in the various different like stat blocks that your skater has.
Do you see your stat block again after the beginning? I mean, I never did.
You can look it up.
You could look it up, but
yeah. It's like it's in the menus.
Okay, which menus. I mean, you press pause and there's like 18 things that you can click on. There's a lot of things.
There's a bunch of them, but they're noticeable. Like as you level those things up, you will get better at those skills.
You'll get better as you get better.
Correct.
Nolan, no, I gotta ask. Did you watch Kenny's first play? I know it's been a busy week for you.
I did.
I'm so sorry that you did.
No, I mean I expected something like that.
I could not have expected, and there's many people that have commented on the video and in Discord this week that they even knowing Kenny for so long, he finds ways to surprise you, and one of those is by not playing the game of the week.
Yeah,
I mean I showed off an important part of what makes this game unique.
Kenny, you pre-decided that in your first play you weren't going to play the game. Why?
Well, sure. Everyone has seen Tony Hawk style skating games before, and what felt unique to me about this game is the super in-depth customization. So I thought I would just like show that off a little bit.
Y'all have YouTube. You can watch gameplay.
Yeah,
of
you start with Google. You thought that, but then you started creating your character and realized there wasn't as many customization options.
Early on.
So you cut a lot of that out.
There's too many. I decided that it was going to take too long.
Have you played some
of
these RPGs where you can choose each like point of the jawline?
The pores.
I went back when I wasn't recording a first play and knowing people were going to judge me for it, and created a character doing every single one of those little stats.
And then
made
you created
exactly who I wanted him to be.
Nope. And then you created a move that would require you to spend 30 seconds in the air or something crazy like that.
3 whole seconds, but that's a very long time when you're doing skate moves. I didn't know how that was going to work. Yes. I thought it was going to be a move that once you triggered it, it would last for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And I thought this will be easy and make me look cool. No. You had to be good enough to pull off a 3-second move in order to complete it. So that failed. It was basically a week of me just making bad decisions and then failing at them. And no one's surprised by that. So I don't know why you're bringing it up. And
He's not sorry.
Flip on over to our next conversation.
He's not sorry.
This is one of those games that, and there are some like it. I'm trying to think of what they are, and maybe y'all can think of some, Nolan. But there are some games from around this era that don't function mechanically like other games, and so it's kind of a steep learning curve, but once it clicks and it feels really good. I feel like this is one of them. Most of the games that we play, you're not having to do these combos and like hold down X and then release it to jump and do all these things. It just operates differently, and so it takes a while to figure all of that out and make it work. If you haven't, and Nolan, you have legacy experience, so it probably came back pretty quickly. But it's one of those games that feels very foreign at first, but then once you start to get in the flow, it feels really, really good.
It's actually crazy how I immediately knew instinctively all the controls. I didn't have to.
You got like muscle memory still. Like
I knew how to get off the board. I knew
all the time.
Everything was just there. Grind on. I played the GameCube version, so like grind is Y, and my fingers just did it. But what you're saying is right, and I do think once you learn the controls, they're really tight and hold up really well, especially for something that can be as complex as, I don't even know how many tricks are in the game, but like a ton. And it's like
an insane number,
and it's like directional input plus these buttons, and then there's grinds, and then manuals, and there's a ton going on. But once you get the like feel of it, it comes really naturally.
I would say that a game like this has more combinations if you're trying to like do a specific trick on demand, not like just do things and hope for the best, which is, how some of us that are terrible play. If you're actually learning specific tricks and wanting to do those specific tricks on demand and need to remember them, there's way more depth here even than like fighting games, which in my mind are the bar in raw numbers, maybe not in complexity, certainly not in execution. I think these are easier to do generally than more complex fighting game moves. But there's just a huge number of tricks that you can do. It's insane. It's a lot.
There is a connection between fighting game like move sets and the skating move sets for sure. Kenny,
feels very similar to me.
I fear I know the answer to this, but I want to be wrong. Did you use for your movement this week or for your input primarily your analog stick or your D-pad?
I don't actually know. I just picked
hand,
up. No, I know.
Hand.
I just picked up the controller and played. I couldn't even actually tell you. I would assume the D-pad.
Why?
But I didn't think about it. Like I just played. I legitimately don't know. I would have to boot up the game again and see how
he got
the
into
buttons were
flow
mapped.
state. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I have no clue.
The correct answer, and I'm not sure if because Nolan played GameCube, and it would probably be the same. But D-pad, like you have to use the D-pad in this.
Oh,
kind of
I
game.
absolutely did. You say that. I remember like overtly pressing down when I wanted to stop my skateboard, which kind of mind-blowing to me. And every other Tony Hawk I've ever played, I wish this was the case. You can get off your skateboard here.
Yeah. I mentioned it real quick,
L1
but it is
and R1
huge.
together, right?
It's
like that.
huge. It normally drives me crazy that got that forward momentum, and like if you miss a thing, you have to like turn around in a circle and go back and get it. And especially when you're not good at the game yet, and it's trying to like have you accomplish these goals, it's actually kind of frustrating in some of those other games to be stuck on your board. And because they wanted you to be a little bit more in that story mode, and they gave you some things where they want you to be climbing around and exploring things on your feet and like going and talking to people and interacting with the world, not just with skating but with like yourself as a person, they let you jump off the board and carry your skateboard around and do some stuff, and that feels very different. But I don't feel like they did it in a way that lost the sort of soul of the game and that it really is still all about skating. It just felt like another option and another mode to kind of go with all this story they provided, and I thought it was one of the best choices they could have made.
It let them also design the stages better, in my opinion, than previous ones. Not that those games didn't have good stages, but like there are times when getting off your board would be really, really nice in those early games, and you just couldn't. But in this one, you can if you want, and then also they let you jump on buildings and stuff. Like you have like a lot of freedom in these stages to like move around, and they get kind of creative with the objectives or the quests with that mechanic. So I think it's really smart that they added that in.
Let's talk about those quests a little bit, because what you're doing is you're kind of skating around or walking around and you're finding NPCs with red stars floating above their heads, and then you talk to them, you get a task. It's got a story behind it, but they're all ridiculous. Like it's over the top. Collect these 5 things is often what it is, that are scattered around. Either other skaters have it, or they're just pieces of metal that are around the. It's not always that. Sometimes it's rack up a high score, whatever the case.
Smash the competing hot dog vendor carts in Manhattan.
Right. And some of them deliver the hot dogs to the cops, right? That are guarding an entrance to a new skate area. So there are so many. Oh, you can also skitch. I don't think you could do that in the early Tony Hawks. At least there's not cars driving around, but you can like hold onto the back of vehicles and get extra speed. Or a dog. That's how they introduce it. Yeah.
You can also drive those vehicles, which is a totally new thing as well.
Yeah, totally new thing. I'm going to go back to the quest. I don't like them.
Why?
I think a lot of the objectives are just stupid. I love the classic Tony Hawk where it's 5 tapes on every stage. High score, find the gaps. It's predictable. You know what they are. But here it felt like, look, I am usually one to welcome a story element. A game that I'm not sure needed one was Tony Hawk.
You're wrong about that one.
Huh.
I think
Tell me the good story here. It's you just said we're destroying hot dog vendors. What's the story behind that fits?
Who cares? The story behind it?
They do. That's why they put it there.
That hot dog vendor didn't want their competition. So
now you're giving me the story. Someone cares.
Yeah, I think it's... So the thing you're talking about with the tapes and then spelling skate and the classic format it's the same thing here. They just put a different mask on it.
It's not, because they were trying to do different quests and different objectives each and every time. And one, they're not that different. Two, it's obtuse, kind of like tethering it to this narrative. You're getting into a new town and then you have to do the most ridiculous things just because. I don't know. It didn't feel like it flowed well.
Get special and moonwalk 5-0 the waterfront line. I just looked at that.
That was hard. You had to go all the way
grind.
through. It's a long grind.
Yeah, I like that. I like Manhattan though. It's a good stage.
It's a good area.
About the stages? What did you guys think about them? Because these, obviously, as already mentioned, these are really close to me. I like pretty much all of them. But did you have a favorite stage?
I love them. I think. I agree Manhattan was good. I really like that starting stage. It just felt...
Yeah, Jersey's awesome.
So, like, realistic. I don't know. There was just this vibe that, again, it's because they were doing this whole storytelling thing. And the other games, it felt like they were designing stages specifically as a way to just give you the excuse to have cool skating elements in the places they wanted them. This one felt more like real places to some degree.
Yeah.
Again, they still had to kind of shoehorn skating stuff in, and literally every interactable is like skatable in ways that are kind of ridiculous and a little stereotyped versus like real life. But it totally worked. I feel like the areas had more sort of character to me than in some of the other games.
I just like the throwback stages to Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Oh my god, this guy!
What you could play those? The hangar, the school. Those are great areas.
No, they are great. It's actually really cool that they added those into this game. I used to love playing those on this game specifically.
I don't remember if it's the PlayStation 2 or the GameCube version. It's one of those, but you can unlock Iron Man for one of the
I know. I don't remember which one it is.
You can get him in this one.
Okay.
I don't know if it's playable, but I know he shows
There's
up.
also
yes. The question. Hold on. Yes, you can. The question was PlayStation 2 or GameCube.
Oh, yeah. I don't recall.
I thought when he said this one, I thought he meant GameCube, but y'all didn't play GameCube,
right?
You can also get a Kiss concert stage.
Yeah.
As a bonus.
Oh no, you can get the Kiss. Whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Gene Simmons. You can play as him.
Is in it. Yeah.
So another thing that happens in the story is you go to the Tampa Am, and when you win, you get to pick from different sponsors, which is like, again, super on brand for what they're going for. And so, like, I picked Element because that was always my favorite board. Like, it had an Element skateboard, and then you get like the shirt that has it on it. So I know this sounds stupid, but the immersion on this game is actually really effective for what it's trying to do for the audience that it's trying to do.
Well, and if you are a fan of skating and you know the scene, then seeing and interacting with and coming into contact, like your player character, with the likes of Bam Margera or Bob Burnquist or Tony Hawk, obviously, like, I mean, that's your dream, right? That's your skater boy dream, and so you get to live out that in all of its block graphic quality in Tony Hawk's Underground.
Aged.
Some of it will certainly be the era and personal familiarity, and I am certainly not enough in the scene to speak to this with any kind of authority. I felt like I didn't know as much of the music here as I did in some of the earlier tracks. Maybe that is, again, era and gear and where I was, but I felt like that was such a big part of those early games. Really big, well-known tracks by really good bands, and didn't seem to quite hit with the same punch here as some of the earlier titles.
Nolan, you disagree just from because you're so familiar with them because you played this game so much, or what?
I don't disagree. I agree with them. Tony Hawk 2, I think, has the goated one that everybody. No, you think
yes, it's so good.
Oh,
yeah.
This one isn't that, but it still does have some pretty big names on it. But yeah,
music is always going to be a part of these games.
Yeah,
it just
heavily.
Again, it didn't feel like it got quite to that sort of iconic threshold that some of the earlier.
I agree with you. I love this soundtrack, but it is Dustin because I've played it a million times.
Yeah. It is a little bit more eclectic than some of the earlier Tony Hawk. So in earlier ones, you've got pretty much just the kind of the grunge rock stuff. Here you've got some of that, but you've also got some rap, and you've got some house, drum and bass kind of stuff. You've got a variety here. It did. I don't know if you read this week, but the 2004 MTV Video Music Awards introduced a new category that year for Best Video Game Soundtrack, and Underground won.
Oh.
Yeah. Not a surprise. Again, I'm not saying
Really?
it was bad.
Just comparatively speaking.
Comparatively speaking, it didn't feel like quite as hard a hitter.
I think we all
Bus Driver Imaginary Places is a good representation of what this soundtrack is. Y'all probably don't know what it is, but it's the most goober song. It's so crazy. But yeah, I agree with you.
Sticking on the audio theme, it's voice acted.
Yeah.
I don't know if the earlier Tony Hawk games were. I don't think they were. I think this is the first one that was. And all of the skaters are voice acting their own. So the quality is what you would expect from skaters voice acting their own. I mean, they sound just like themselves.
Yeah, I was going to say perfect quality.
But it's not the greatest delivery in the world.
Walked in there drunk and just delivered the lines. Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
But I mean, it's what you would want.
Yeah.
I love that by this time, with Tony Hawk being such a huge name, you've got all of the faces that you'd want to see. You've got all the voices that you'd want to hear. So that's iconic. The graphics with that, you can tell the characters are the characters. But Tony Hawk is always going to have this kind of scuffed graphic in my mind. They're always a little bit, I don't know, janky to me.
They are.
Do you think they took pictures of the skaters and then just downloaded their face into the game with the same technology as they used for users at home?
Basically.
Probably.
Bam Margera emailed in his face to whatever it was at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Gmail wasn't around. I bring this up, and then we can let it go.
Oh my God.
But there is a two-player mode, and two-player mode on these Tony Hawk games can be fun, right? You've got Trick Attack, and you've got King of the Hill, and you've got high score challenges, and you've got Graffiti, and you've got Horse. All the classic, really good. They're really fun. I remember playing a lot of that in Tony Hawk 2. Can't do that today. So it's not as easy to do that today. And so that's just one little thing that I missed due to its age.
I didn't even know there was multiplayer in this game.
Have you ever played, it's so much fun playing these, all of those different, all of them are fun in their own right. I mean, Horse, imagine that, or High Score, you've got to top it each time, or King of the Hill. I mean, there's so many, or there's one called Slaps here or something where you just have to go around and you slap the other skater and then you have to run away. It's, just ridiculous.
So basically tag.
It's tag.
It's
tag.
Okay, I'm going back to the story a little bit. And it's kind of has to do with the graphics. I do think the characters look scuffed. I agree. But they really did stick to this bit of wanting it to feel kind of cinematic, kind of like a movie that, I don't know, Bam Margera or any one of them would have made. Because you do have moments of I don't know, a camcorder
skater footage,
which was which is on point, but also just some of the angles that they were taking, it just made me laugh, and I didn't remember that about this game at all. But I thought that was an interesting thing that they did here because they were just really into this story mode, I think.
It's definitely sometimes you get games in a or that are I don't know about a particular subculture that you can clearly tell are not made by people from that culture. That's not the case here.
Right,
Like
at
this
all.
was made by
Bam Margera.
skaters of the era.
Yeah.
It was made by Bam Margera.
Yeah, he coded it and everything.
You can definitely tell those things from the vibes. Every bit of it is like dripping heavily with 2003 skating vibes for sure. The series that began in 1999 with the PlayStation entry Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and then it most recently re-released the originals. Y'all know that that's happening as we speak.
Yeah.
Pro Skater 1 plus 2, or 1 and 2 probably, came out in 2020, which it does not feel like it was that long ago.
No.
And then 3 and 4 is supposed to come out this year.
Oh, that's crazy. Like as a bundle? Like they come out
as a bundle, yeah.
That's
It's
great.
both of them remade, and I believe that the remake of 1 and 2 were critically acclaimed. People really enjoyed them, so I think people are really looking forward to 3 and 4 as well. Underground itself got a sequel back in 2004.
I've played that one as well.
Underground 2.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look that one up. I've completely forgotten about that one.
It's on the Retro Master list.
Huh? Maybe we'll play it
at some point.
They need to remake this one. That will be so sick.
If 3 and 4 do well, you think they'll just keep going?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because a lot of people like this game.
If you want a copy of this game for your GameCube or PlayStation 2, those are kind of the price comparables that I looked up. $12 around there loose, so not bad at all. $17 complete in box. And then it varies. The GameCube, I believe, is $35 new, still dirt cheap. The PlayStation 2 is $130 new.
Wow.
That's still very,
very
rare. Reasonable for this game.
A lot of these were made.
I guess so.
Final thoughts.
At the end of each and every one of our episodes, we determine whether or not the game gets our vote for New Game Plus status, which is our general thumbs up or thumbs down. It does require 2/3 of the vote to swing one way or the other. Nolan, you love this game. Go ahead and tell us.
Well, it's the best Tony Hawk game, easily. And I think a lot of people would actually agree with me on that. I know that one of you is not going to give a New Game Plus, and that's fine. But what I think this game does really well is the create a skater thing. I said it before, but that is the game. That's why you play this one. And it's just done right. They did it right. They did it correct. It feels completely engrossed in skating culture, or at least at this time when it came out. It was so on point, and it was so fun because you got to make your own deck and the artwork for it, and you get to join those teams, and you get to customize your shirts and your skater. And honestly, playing it in 2025, it holds up way better than I thought it would. It's very tight controls still. So that's not an issue, and that's one of the biggest things that I think would keep you from playing an old Tony Hawk game. So that's not an issue, and graphically, yeah, it's aged for sure, but like, man, I know I'm biased. That's why I went first, but I genuinely think this is the best Tony Hawk game. Easy New Game Plus.
You said that you think other people would agree with you, and I immediately thought, there's no way. And then I searched Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games ranked, and the first person on Reddit has Underground at the top. So I guess there are a few people that would agree.
Person speaks for us all.
Game Boy Colorful on Reddit.
Shut up.
Kenny, what did you think about Tony Hawk's Underground?
Yeah, I'm not great at these games. That's not a surprise.
You didn't play it.
But I get the appeal. I 1,000% do. Classically, I've struggled with them, though. Here's some things that would help me enjoy a Tony Hawk game more. Give me very thoughtful difficulty scaling so that if I don't want to play at a higher difficulty, I can choose to tone it down and still have an enjoyable time. And maybe flesh out the world a little bit, though that's kind of optional. I'm a little bit in Dustin's camp. I think the story beats are welcome here. But I don't think that's sort of the heart of what these games are about. I do think they add something, though. And so, like, bravo. But then finally, just let me get off my skateboard. It's too stressful to be moving around all the time and forced to do it. You give me those two things, and even though it's not a game for me, what it's about and the good nugget of game inside of it is enough, and it's going to be something that I have so much fun playing. So, yeah, I started off very poorly in the first play, as you guys saw, but as I got re-familiar with moves and at least doing the couple of things that I could do and doing them consistently, I'm unsurprisingly a grind boy. I've got great balance. You know what I mean. Dustin, I know you are too.
How would you know?
Because I just saw that dance move he did. For those of you who only listen to the audio version of the podcast, you're missing out. New Game Plus. This is a solid game. No major complaints. I like some of the new novel stuff they did with it. Eric is the worst person, maybe, of all time. But sometimes friends are going to stab you in the back, and we learn and we grow from the experience. New Game Plus, anyways.
We listen and we don't judge.
I found myself missing the traditional mode, as I've already said, of here's the environment, there are a dozen goals, have fun. I typically welcome story added to most anything. Give me a story for Tetris, I'd be intrigued. And I think there is room for having story in Tony Hawk. I just think this story is not a good one. It's just so over the top. It's so crazy. It's ludicrous. It's absurdist is what it is. Like Kenny referenced up front, but like there's a helicopter that shows up because you're, I don't know, on the roof of a building, not supposed to be there. Takes the perfect opportunity to do a trick over it for footage. And that's far from the most ludicrous thing here. But Tony Hawk has a charm that is delightful. I would imagine there are some Tony Hawk games that are bad. I think the GBA version of this one is probably not good. There's a lot of, and I don't think probably. Here's what I would say. I would guess that all of the core classic Tony Hawk games are worth playing. 1 through 4, Underground, all of those, because they're just done with a charm. They age. Right. But they're done with a charm. And if you're willing to enter into that era again, then I think is some fun to be had for most people. And I think mechanically they're sound. I think that's the reason why I am going to give it my vote, is because you can get good at this. And when you lock in and get good and learn the system, it does feel good. It feels good to hit the manual, into the use triangle, then to grind, and then to change up the grind move, and then to manual again. And to, what's it called when you shift the boards? Your footing is different. That's always
would
fun.
Would you like reverse? Yeah.
Oh, yes, switch. It just all feels good mechanically. I don't think the story mode adds anything great here. But Tony Hawk games are just fun. This week I was going back and forth on what I was going to give it and whether or not I was going to get my vote. But I agree with y'all. It's fun. It's worth playing. So I also give it my vote for New Game Plus status, which means Tony Hawk's Underground is New Game Plus certified. But what did you think? On our new YouTube poll, not just a new poll, but a new YouTube. We have now switched over to youtube.com / or should I just say youtube.com?
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
YouTube.com will get you there. Yeah.
/NGP / @NGP podcast.
Yeah.
That's our new YouTube. Please subscribe to us there. Our old channel is going to
we're deprecating it. Yeah.
But on our poll, we had 68% that said yes, it's worth playing today. 5% said no, go play something else, and 26% have not played Underground before.
I agree with all those stats, I think.
It's a popular game. I'm not surprised to hear those numbers.
Many from our community played along with us this week and wrote in their thoughts. Tins said, on my endless journey of playing catch-up on all the great games the world has to offer, sometimes I'm stopped in my trucks. I mean tracks, to return to an old childhood classic. I did just that with Thug, a game I knew I needed for my PS2. I snagged a physical copy. As I played the game, so many memories came flooding back. The nostalgic soundtrack, the silly dialogue from the NPCs asking you to risk your life over silly tricks, and of course the overall early 2000s tone, which is packed in tightly. I had a blast playing this game with my brothers 20-something years ago, and I had a blast a few months ago upon revisiting. There is some jank to be noted, but I'd be crazy not to recommend any early Tony Hawk games. NGP all day.
That was a blast to listen to.
A blast from the present. Keeks said, Tony Hawk's Underground was the peak of the THPS games. It introduced a story that doesn't entirely age well, with a great villain you love to hate in Sparrow. The game also gained a bigger stats mechanic where you get a better the more you play, which made the progression as a pro better. Maybe it's nostalgia, but Thug gets NGP.
It's not just nostalgia, I don't think. I actually think it's better than the other games.
Yeah. That's nostalgia.
No. That's your nostalgia for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
It is.
I just dunked on you.
You didn't dunk?
Just dunked on
Dustin acts like he likes all of the mainline Tony Hawks, but you know if they came out with the Tony Hawk Tactics, you'd be all about it.
It would be amazing. Sin Doctor, who is one of the two that submitted this game, wrote in and said, Thug is easily on a short list of my favorite games of all time. Dang. I can see some faults with it, of course, like the visuals, pretty silly writing at times, come on, and a couple missions that grind the game to a halt for a new player. With that said, however, this game puts the most important quality a game can first. Fun. It's just fun. Cruising around without a mission, the progression loop, doing funny looking combos, or just going for a high score. Not to mention the endless hours I sank into this game with friends as a teenager, just shooting the breeze. It's really just fun and has the perfect combo of camp and charm for me to have loved it when it came out and still love it now. NGP all the way.
It's true. They prioritize fun.
They do. I will say, I think if you don't have the early 2000s connection and you don't even have Tony Hawk Legacy experience, this one will be a challenge for some people just because it's like so steeped in that.
Yeah, but a lot of that's come back around as
Sure.
popular in real life.
And then the other person that submitted this, official WNBA, wrote in saying, Thug is the most influential piece of media I consumed as a child. This game single-handedly introduced me to the world of skateboarding and largely affected my music taste. This game does a great job of staying true to the THPS series, but adds just enough to keep things fresh. Being able to get off your board was a much-needed mechanic that opens up much more of the levels, and the addition of the story mode creates a bit more depth than the THPS series does.
Do you think we'll ever get sued for saying that the official WNBA said this about Thug or about Insert the Game?
Yeah, but there's got to be a lawyer that listens to us, right?
That would defend us for pro bono, for pro bonos?
Yeah,
we'll hire Ace Attorney.
I don't have any pro bonos.
Kenny has enough for all of us. For now, we are going to set aside Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and we are not going to randomly select the next retro game of the week from our Retro Master list, at least, because it is time for a producer poll!
Spin that least.
Stats by Shane.
Stats by Shane.
A little bit different here. I'd say a little bit. We still have PS1 and PC up at the top. I think they both have 10 or 11 votes. But hey, here's something new. The third most entered console is a GBA.
I was going to say N64 as a guess.
Yeah, GBA.
That's cool.
Sorry. Probably by entry number, there's a lot more like N64 because I'll get to that. But I'm just saying like entries for a console, like unique games per console, I think is what we did here. So
that's exciting.
Now here's where I'm going to the Nintendo 64, Nolan, because the game that has the most votes at 7.
Does it start with Z?
Is Majora's. It starts with a Majora's Mask.
Starts with an M. Yeah, that would be sick. And wait, I heard in the expansion pack that both of you idiots have never played it.
Never.
Correct.
I really hope it wins.
I'm going to have to use a guide.
So, I'll be your guide.
I won't.
Oh, weird, Kenny. The second most entered game was Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, which I would be down for.
That game is amazing. That's GBA, Dustin.
I know,
You would love
which
it.
I talked about on the expansion pack. I've enjoyed all the Castlevanias we played, even the most classic ones that aren't really Metroidvanias. And then you put one that's a little bit later in the life cycle on the GBA.
Dude, Aria
oh my
is
goodness.
so peak. It's so good.
Is it so good?
Yes.
Is it better than Symphony?
It's up there with Symphony. It's like another Symphony of the Night. It's so good.
A few other games I'll throw out. We've got Worms Armageddon from Flumbus.
No thanks.
Darkwing Duck from Justin.
Yes, please.
Oh wait, I think Worms Armageddon is good actually.
Ooh. Mario Sunshine from Shauna.
Huge. That would be crazy.
And another game we talked about on an expansion pack that I think I would actually be very interested in trying out because I haven't played one of these classic ones for a long, long time. Pokemon Emerald from Swaggy Taco Fish.
That would be interesting. I'm a Pokemon hater, but it would be cool.
I would 1,000% do a mainline Pokemon game.
It would
this
be
week.
interesting to talk about that.
Kenny,
Yeah.
do you still play Pokemon Go?
I don't know. I had
Pokemon
a little blip
No.
of it in its early popularity, but didn't sustain that.
In the smallest pool we ever do, with almost 100% participation, almost every single one of our producers.
Hey, pat yourselves
entered
on
in.
the backs,
Nice.
producers.
Yeah.
We
It's what happens when you open up your swimming pool and invite people in.
are randomizing now. I'll go ahead and upset a portion of our producers and let you know that this game was only submitted by a single person.
Well, we know what it wasn't then.
That's a
So
bummer.
this game, no, it's not. This game
Maybe a
only
little bit.
This game only has 2 votes from the single person. It is a game that came
Okay.
out in 1997.
Good year.
Great year.
Okay.
Great year.
Also, great console. It came out for the PlayStation.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is an action-adventure platform video game.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah. That's crazy, Kenny. It was developed and published by Whoopee Camp.
See, this is
no.
where I'm out completely.
That took a left turn.
The game centers on the eponymous feral child as he attempts to recover his grandfather's bracelet from an evil race of anthropomorphic pigs. That's right. For the next 7 days, we are playing Tomba.
Oh, heard of it. I have.
Yeah.
I've
He's got
never
pink
played it in
hair.
my life.
I also don't know if I'm pronouncing it. Pronouncing it correctly either.
I think you're pronouncing it right. He's a pretty recognizable character.
Oh yeah, he's like an Ooga Booga,
What is that?
like caveman, right?
Oh, like Flintstone.
Yeah, but also that might be. It wouldn't be racist.
Offensive?
Uh,
Kenny, is that offensive?
I mean, to cavemen.
Well, I ask you because,
oh yeah.
Of the three of us, I am the closest.
This was submitted by Psycho Mantis. Thank you, Psycho Mantis, for your submission. And producers, don't get too sad. Just wait a couple weeks, and there will be another
Literally
opportunity
2
for
weeks.
you. Actually, wait till next week. You'll be able
That's
to be a
true.
part of the Patreon poll.
Right.
Find a copy of Tomba and play it along with Dustin, Nolan, Kenny, and Psycho Mantis this next week.
Join our Discord server. All you have to do is go to discord.gg/NGP podcast.
Y'all have already jumped into the pool. So
Splash.
if you're missing out, if you're late to the party, patreon.com is the place to go to support your favorite retro gaming podcast. You'll be joining so many people who have upped their patronage to the producer level for all of our summer activities, including Thibs, Keeks, JB Crease, Bill R, Hot Tamales, Super Garbage Day, and Riff. We also want to say thank you to Would You Ever Ask a Nightingale and Suffer
Who?
for joining us as patrons for the first time this week. Thank you to our director level supporters as well, Brojum, Sasser, Mystic Tins, and Siegfried, and to our many producers who... There's so many of you, and I'm going to do my best to get through all of your names as quickly as I can. to make these gentlemen be less ridiculous, such as Alex Amarlian, Antonin Ben, Champagne Vinaigrette, Cody Craig, Dagany, Dan Willett, Garlisle, Alex Harold, Hey Brother, J. Robert, Jake Jordan, Justin Klin, Lapidus Landris, Levi Maxima, Megatron, Miss Muso, Not Enough Dog, Rad Max Sage, and Scotty Chain Shauna, Snake Maddox, Spinny the Jet, Stephen Fuck, Super Hypered, Swaggy, Taco Fish, Psycho Mantis, hey, congrats on your game, by the way, Thomas, Unbedavable, and Zion. Thanks for your support. We appreciate it.
Sorry, Dan, I told him to do it, but he didn't see it. I'll remind him next time. Social media, you can follow us at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. The links are in the show notes. Listen directly on any podcast provider of your choice. Make sure you subscribe so that you're the first to get new NGP episodes, and while you're at it, please leave a kind rating and review. Our episode artwork was created by our friend Dave. Our video episode was edited by our friend Dylan. Our audio episode was edited and produced by our friend Dan Willett. Join us next week as we play Tomba. Until then, I'm still Tony.
I'm still doing kick flips and stuff.
I'm Tony. Too.
No, you're Hawk.
Oh, that's his.
Tua.
I'm Hawk.
And this has been New Game Plus.